Commissioner of the TRSBA. It is the Valentines Day, the 14th of February 2022. Just watched the Super Bowl. My Buffalo Bills were not part of the action, but what we are here today is to look at a bit of a TRSBA regular season review and a playoff preview podcast edition. So here we go. Share the screen. Rightio, what have we got here? So the regular season, let's have a look. We're just going to start with the teams that have already done, the teams that already finished, who came last, who came first, all of those sort of shenanigans is what we're going to look at first. Okay, let's have a look. 16th team of the Golden State Snipers. Best player was Anthony Edwards. He had about 30 fantasy points a game in his second year. Unlucky not to be an all-star. See if I can just hook that up a bit better. Okay. The most improved player was Darius Garland. He made the All-Star game, actually, 29 fantasy points a game. For Garland, absolutely phenomenal year for him. And keep looking out for him. This is just his third year in the league. Jared Allen. Love his afro. Pretty much close to an all-star as well. So the rest really sucked. There was no breakout performer out of those that weren't named in that top three. So the Snipers started off with a huge losing streak at the start of the year, 13-41. And the 15th best team were the New Orleans Hurricanes. Again, LaMelo made the All-Star game on a recount, basically. He was their best player, I think. 33.4 fantasy points a game. What a year. Maximum Derek to break out to 28. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. He ended up with 23.6 fantasy points a game. Kevin Love and Josh Hart were some surprise pieces. Wiseman didn't play a game at all. The 14th team, is this right? Chicago Predators, 14th. Yeah, it must be right. Embiid, though, this guy was an absolute bloody monster. An absolute stud muffin. But we had Paul George has been, injuries to him has been horrible for these guys. So has Beal. He's had horrible injury as well. We haven't seen any Oladipo, but I'll play the drop anyway.
And when you really, really need to go, there is Ola Restrooms.
Levine an all-star. Yep. Nurkic, also a great year. Desomnu, what a great pickup he was. So Chicago, not a lot of depth, though, and that's where they ended up. A lot of guys missing games. The LA Pens were 21-33. These guys were a lot better than I expected. They had the two rookies. They had Cade Cunningham. He was, but they also traded to get Booker. Big trade, Jalen Green, early on. That was a big trade for these guys. 34 fantasy points a game for Booker, as you'd expect. Cade Cunningham was a few injuries, but he's done what he was expected to do. Keldon Johnson had a huge improvement. Brunson and Bain, big difference makers. And a huge year for Robert Williams. The Brown Cows. Commish overrated this turd ball of a squad. I mean, I thought they were going to do a lot better than this. And look where they ended up, 12th. That's fucking shit. What did they do here? They traded away their lottery pick as well. Oh no, fuck! That's a top 5 or 6 pick there. So that's up shit street. Randall's still decent enough. I mean, 32.6 fantasy points a game. He led the team. Brown, a little bit no further up the chain though. D'Angelo Russell, he showed signs, that's for sure. D'Angelo. On to the next team, the 11th, the Cleveland Jaguars. They're the team that nearly made the play-in, ended up 21-33. Some good performances here. Kuzma was probably the standout player. Well, not really the standout player, but the guy who sort of improved the most, that's for sure. He's had a lot of big games.
You fucked me up right there. Hydration? Oh, hold on. Wait, H2? Oh.
Portis, no sound drop for him, but he really stepped up this year. Devin Vassell was... everyone keeps talking about this guy. When's he going to step up, you know? Devin. The Go-Bird trade for Middleton late in the year with Dan was interesting. Pirtle was fantastic. Aaron Gordon, he's sort of hanging in there a little bit. PJ Washington had a disappointing year. No luck with any of the rookie selections, and Josh Jackson to be banished. The OC double-doubles, we'll talk about them. I think they're going to actually win some playoff games, or play in then maybe some playoff games. The OC. So Luca projected in the top 3. I think he wasn't far off there. I mean, still a good, but I have to play. He started out the year and he was in chunky shape. Finally got some Irving.
What's your name again? What? Irving. Irving Zisman.
They added AD. What did they do to this guy?
Dang, they do to my boy AD.
That brown will haunt my dreams.
So anyway, the Franz Wagner was a really good rookie. How do you pronounce the name?
That's about it, Lieutenant
Wagner.
Wagner.
Not Wagner. Wagner. W-A-G-N-E-R. Wagner.
J-Roo and JV very solid. Won't play their music though. New York Lions, about where they announced they're going to rebuild when they did that deal. AD for JC. Devin Booker also was dealt. So they really are rebuilding. Jalen Green, Suggsy. So those 2 players there, they're the ones that were traded. DeRozan, this guy's been phenomenal. Which one do you want me to play? The Marvelous one? I'll give him 2. But, I called him Zeus early in the year.
Unbelievable Zeus! That man of destruction! Can Hogan get to him? I don't think so.
Who would have thought? 37 fantasy points a game. Suggs is coming through. Why is Drummond starting? Klay Thompson is coming back. Wiggins is upping it. Toronto Flyers 25-29. They're in the play-in. Nikola Jokic has been fantastic. He's leading the pack here. Added Zinger late in the year. I think don't know if he'll get any play-in time at all. I think they're done. Brogdon and Dinwiddie both shit for years, both out or not doing much, one of the 2. Found Miles Turner and a bunch of underachievers, so they'll probably wait till next year. I think Kawhi Leonard's there as well. San Francisco Tigers in the top 7. Who would have thought? Sabonis. They haven't done a lot of trading throughout the year. 34 fantasy points a game. Halliburton already up to 26 fantasy points a game. Fox, 29 fantasy points a game. Lonzo Ball injured quite a bit this year. Isaac didn't show up at all. What's news? Decent year for rookie Scotty Barnes, also Mo Bumba, Patrick Beverley and Marcus Smart. The Washington Wolfhounds, Vooch definitely was their best player, 33.5 fantasy points a game. Russell Westbrook did struggle at times, 31. Tobias Harris, consistent, 30. Said a few consistent players. Sexton was gone as far as he was injured. Josh Giddey, one of the three-time rookie. Giddy up indeed. Duarte was a good acquisition. Oubre Laurie helping the depth. So that's where they're sixth, you know. It's an interesting year when they end up sixth. I mean, there's not a lot between these guys and down a bit further. The Utah Saints. Zion missing the whole everything so far. Mugger was a non-factor. They had SGA, they had Trey, Morant, all top 25 players. Ayton continuing to dominate. Still the youngest team in the TRSBA. Mobley rookie of the year, I reckon. What do you reckon? I think so.
Very impressive. A little freaky, but I like this kid.
I love you. I mean, we should hang out socially.
Yeah, I think we should hang out socially. Hero was pretty good and probably one of the sixth man of the year. Nerds fourth. Dan, well done. Big year for Dan's team. Lots of trades. You don't know where they ended up, but Harden was the guy that did help them. And whether he's going to be healthy or not for the playoffs is another question.
Yeah, it's a big, shiny, fancy fucking four-wheel drive, but he doesn't know how to change a tyre. Harden the fuck up indeed. That's what he needs to do in order to play. Rudy Gobert. So that's going to be interesting. They've got Gary Trent. He's playing well. CP3 has been fantastic. Still, you've got Stewart and Gordo. So you've got some players that were there at the start of the year, which is surprising for Dan. It wasn't a complete wash and change. These three pitchers remained from the power rankings at the start of the season. Tampa Bay Butchers third. These guys have been really, really good. Karl Anthony Towns, he's been fantastic. Buckets, 34 fantasy points a game. The Kerner, the Crucifix, really good of late. Really good of late. I didn't think he'd get to 30, but here he is.
On my way, it's my work. They're gonna call me. Well, I know I'm gonna be the one who's smiling next to that gentleman over there.
And Miles Bridges. What a year for him. As the commissioner, if I had a choice, I mean, I know there's huge improvements from Ja Morant, but this guy would be my most improved player, DeJounte Murray.
Hey, you got no mustard. It's on the door. What, this yellow stuff? No, I said mustard, Jerry. Dijon.
Be interesting to see who it is. And Simmons might play in the playoffs. That's the word we've got at the moment. Number 2 team, the Alabama Wild Boars, not 43-11. The Greek Freak was playing well. KD missing a lot of time. The Greek Freak. LeBron James. What a year for LeBron. He's been pretty good, but the rest.
This is our little
LeBron. Hey, LeBron.
Yep.
Little French fella.
Little LeBron.
Yeah, I was against him.
Ingram. Mr. Brightside. Okay, so it'll come down to whether Durant returns, whether they can win or not, I think. But I think they still have a good chance nonetheless. And let's have a look at the Barbs. They had Dame was hurt. Siakam played really, really well this year. Bam Adebayo also mainstays. Curry shooting not as good, but still a top 10 player. Tatum wasn't shooting well, but still a great player. So, and same with Fred. These guys all stars.
but not the greatest shooters there. So it doesn't, but their perseverance means they get points on the board. So, yeah, interesting. So that's the DFL. There's some predictions now with the playoffs and play-in. So the Hounds, I think, will beat the Lions. I think that's a pretty easy win for the Hounds. And then they'll face the Wild Boars. So that's going to be a good matchup. I think the Boars may have it over the Hounds. This is where it's looking like at the moment. The Butchers and the Nerds. Now, Dan has been complained heavily. He said, fuck this, Tim. I'm the 4th best team in the league. Well, I have to fucking play the 3rd best team in the league in the first round of the playoffs. Well, that's just the way it goes. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry, buddy. But, it's going to be a good matchup, I think. I think it could go 7 games. I hope it does. So Tampa Bay Butchers.
Tampa Bay this season was a whirlwind.
Red Devils. So that's going to be an epic series. Dubs with 2 great wins should now face the Barbarians. So they beat, I think it's the Flyers, they beat to get into the playoffs, and they will face the Barbarians, and they will come in very hot. Very hot indeed. So let's have a look at what's been happening there. If we have a look at that. Just bring up those early scores for the play-in. The Saints will be at home to San Francisco too. So San Francisco, what a year for San Francisco. Then all of a sudden the internet decides it just doesn't want to work. I think fucking someone's streaming on the line, that's for sure. Anyway, San Francisco.
San Francisco, where's your disco?
Yes, as we can see there, we've got a big win for the Dubs in that one there, 245, 168, and 257, 148. Hounds and Lions looks pretty close. I'd say that the Hounds will win that. Pretty close, though. Pretty close. Oh, could go to 3 games. Could go to 3 games. It's going to be very interesting. Lions might not be dead yet. There we go. Interesting games ahead there. So that's a bit about what's been happening there. So let's have a look at those standings before we pack up. See that there? The Jaguars only get 1 chance in the lottery, whereas the 2 chances for the Cows, 3 chances for the Penguins, 4 chances for the Predators, 6 chances for the Hurricanes, 9 out of 25 for the Snipers. So Wes will get the best chance at that number 1 pick. So that's been, hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. Very close game. Congratulations to the LA Rams. Well done right at the end there. So thank you. And I'll be back in Brisbane.